The Nephilim have bled into every aspect of your culture and taken over your understanding of these things and subverted your perspective of really what's going on and made it to where it seems friendly and it's a good thing and everybody loves it and you should like it too. I'll say something I haven't really put out there very publicly, but I know this, but like Hakuna Matata, right? You think that means no worries?
Dude, it means no worries.
No, it means no fathers. Look it up. I promise you. Look it up. In Zulu, type in right now. Type in Google Translate Zulu Hakuna Matata. Write it all out as one word. Disney has been casting spells to curse fathers away from their families. I'm not even joking.
Fascinating.
So this is the cartoon that normalizes making the friendly, satanic, occult things. It's all trying to subversively put occultic understandings into your mind to normalize you to the occult, normalize you to witchcraft. Normally everything about the and they're called the dragon team, bro. Like they're on the team of the dragon. The dragon is the name for the serpent. It's the name for the devil. It's the name for Satan. You have to wake up in the spirit and recognize what it's doing to your heart. I was like, in the name of Jesus, spirit of depression, come out. Bro, she starts throwing up instantly. She goes,
we are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. There's some Nephilim shit.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us modern-day slaves. And everybody's just walking around, head in the clouds, and won't awaken to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to what may be the most upsetting episode
I've
of
got
Nephilim
chills.
Death Squad. I am not happy about this, dude. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is TopLobsta, the father of disinformation. Before we get into today's guest, I would like to remind all of our live viewers that this is a 30-minute preview only. Sometime around the 30-minute mark, we'll be going live exclusively to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad, where you can continue enjoying an ad-free experience, gaining access to the episode before the general public does, and you can do it for free. That's right. Sign up at patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad for free, and you'll be able to continue watching along when this goes behind the paywall. Not really a paywall if it's free, is it, guys? Also, don't forget to go over to TopLobsta.com. If you sign up on patreon.com, you will actually get a discount code that you can use over at TopLobsta.com, and check out our new varsity jacket. I never played for a team, actually. Never played a sport in my life, but now I have a sports jacket, and you can have one too. The Nephilim Death Squad varsity jacket is now available on TopLobsta.com. Go and check that out while supplies last. Guys, joining us today is Bryan. We are joined once again by Bryan of Demon Erasers. Bryan, before we get into today's episode, let everybody know what it is you do and where they can find your work.
yeah, guys. You guys can find me at demonerasers.com. I've got a podcast that's also at Ancient Angels. So if you go to ancientangels.com, there's a movie. I have a movie or a documentary, and you can check that out. Right there is Ancient Angels with my buddy JT and stuff. And then, there's I'm all over the internet. I don't really know. You just look up Demon Erasers, look up Ancient Angels. I have my podcast, which is Ancient Angels podcast, which is on my Demon Erasers YouTube channel, is where I've been dropping some like crazy stuff that we'll be talking about a little bit today. And if you want to know anything about Nephilim, historical context where the Nephilim have gone, who the Nephilim actually are, where they are today, what's going on with the genetics and all this kind of stuff. I talk about genome, I talk about hidden history and all kinds of craziness. And also, I'm an exorcist, and I pray for people and cast out demons and do lots of a lot of other side stuff.
You also have a tendency of showing up on this show, Bryan, and just ruining things for us. The last time, or one of the last times you were here, you completely ruined Christmas. And it's weird because we invite you on, and we invite you on to do these things, but it's still bittersweet. And so today I have a feeling is not going to be any different. We're talking about, both me and Top have this mutual childhood appreciation for Dragon Ball Z. It was a great anime. It was my favorite action figure to have. It was my favorite show. I remember rushing home at 5:30 every day to catch it on Toonami. So I'd go home, I'd get dinner, and I'd sit down in front of the TV and I'd watch Dragon Ball Z. It became part of my ritual. I'm sure you're going to tell me that's bad too. But you're here to tear it down.
You called it a ritual.
Our idols. Yeah, I mean, I am the one that called it.
Wasn't
a ritual,
me.
But I mean, I recognize what these things are, so I have a feeling I know what direction we're going to go in. But I can't say that I know the details, Brian. So where are we going to start on this ruining Dragon Ball Z for us?
First off, the thing is, you got to understand. We're going to talk about ancient Chinese, actually. We're going to talk about ancient Chinese before we get into this, because there's a lot of things in our culture today that everybody needs to understand that is highly Nephilimized, okay? I'm just going to say it. Like, the Nephilim have bled into every aspect of your culture and taken over your understanding of these things and subverted your perspective of really what's going on and made it to where it seems friendly and it's a good thing and everybody loves it and you should like it too. And that's what's gone on in our culture today. And it's gone on through practices of, channeling writings or automatic writings. I don't know if you've heard of automatic writing. You guys know what that is? Where people channel and they write.
That you're in like a flow state. You're receiving things from maybe what the Greeks would have called the muses or something like that. But you're being inspired by something spiritual.
Yes, you're being inspired by something to create a story or a narrative to give to the world or whatever. Well, that's where we get the word cursive from. Okay, so like cursive, it comes from, it's a cursing language. It's a cursing writing form of automatic writing. So you would close your eyes and channel the spirit, and then you begin to move your hand up and down and write in this scribbly, loopy writing style, and then you look back down, and then the interpretation of the curse is called cursive. That's where cursive comes from.
Is that true? That's insane,
yes,
because
that's what its automatic writing is.
I sometimes conflate those, I guess. I don't know if cursive is the same thing as script. It shows my level of education. But when I look at, let's say, cursive, it is the same thing. Okay. When I look at cursive or when I look at script, I can see how it's an expedient way, but it leaves you guessing because everybody's like handwriting is a little bit different and there's really not a lot of emphasis on the individual characters. So it's kind of like guesswork when you look at it. It's
100%. It is guesswork because that's literally how they would do this. Like when they would do automatic writing, they'd channel a spirit and they'd start writing and then they'd be like going in and out. And then they'd read it and try to figure out what they were writing. And then it would conform sentences and they try to like not pick the pin up. And so that's the idea of, the cursive continuous line.
It's almost like the
going. So yeah, it's reminiscent in a lot of things, but this is why people wrote in cursive. This is where it was from. English was from English, which is from Anglo-Saxon, angels of Saxon. It was angelish. English is angelish. It's an angelic language derived from the occult from way back in the day when the fallen angels mated with humans. They created angelish, or like what we now call English. The Enochian text. That's the Enochian writings and all that stuff. This is all derived from English. Is derived from that. And so is cursive. It's derived from that as well. And then that's why it's called grammar, spelling, and grammar. Grammar is the ancient word for grimoire, okay? And it's gram or grim means witchcraft. It means the occult practice and knowledge of witchcraft. If you look up the etymology of grammar, it tells you it comes from the word of spelling and occult magic. That's literally where the word grammar is derived from. Yeah, we call it in our language grimoire, grammar. But you've heard of the Brothers Grimm before? That's like the stories of the old books of witchcraft. Like it's that sort of thing. Grim is actually, grim means dark and wicked and death, right? When something's grim, but it's derived from witchcraft. And so it's like, this is where these words all stem from. And then that's perpetuated into our society for like things like programmer, pro-grimoire. Okay. It's pro means for witchcraft, programming. And so it's like
see that in Hollywood, right? So you have like how do they determine who's the actor? Well, they're casting, right? It's a casting call, or
it's the cast that they're putting onto you when you watch it.
Yeah, this is crazy. And the brothers Grimm are responsible for previous versions or the original versions of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Princess.
Yeah, but they're much darker.
Yeah.
They're much
yeah.
darker.
That's a whole nother
versions.
episode. You're gonna bring me on, and we'll do a whole nother episode
Okay.
about that.
Let's
Actually,
go.
we'll
I
go
love it.
into
You know
there.
what? I noticed there's another trend. Besides you ruining everything for us, Brian, there's another trend, and that is typically by the first 20 minutes of the episode, we've already determined why we're going to have you back again. So we just did it again. That's keeping with
Okay, there we
the
go.
trend. That's exactly.
Yeah,
why.
we'll go.
All right.
We'll go into that because when you know the real stories and you realize that it's all Nephilimized connected, like, bro, that your perspective drastically is like it shifts, and you're like, okay, wow, I didn't know that that's what it really was. But yeah.
Interesting.
Anyways, so this is the occult have constantly subverted media, which is mediumship. Okay, mediumship is why that's why we call it the media, because they are conveying a message to you. They've constantly done this throughout history since the very inception of stories. Okay, so since the very inception, they have been twisting the tales and the narrative of truth to make up what we call fairy tales and all these other things, right? So it's no different when it comes to I'm hearing an echo myself.
Yeah, something just
But
changed
anyways.
all of a sudden. We had some audio issues.
Oh,
Yeah, it's still
Let me see.
Oh,
it's not me,
there you
it's
go.
you, it's
Top
Top.
he sounds gigantic now.
oh God, it's me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's you.
Oh yeah.
All right, let me log out.
you
Go ahead.
touched something.
That's all right. Sometimes that happens with StreamYard.
There it
He'll
is,
be
okay.
right back. So let's keep going.
Okay, so anyways, the media has been designed to manipulate our perception of the knowledge of the things that are real and what is truth. Okay, so understanding that principle, you can come to this better picture that basically everything around us being pumped out through the media, there is a high probability that it's being circumvented or influenced in some capacity or some way. So the creator of Dragon Ball Z is a dude. I forget his name. Do you know his name? I forget his name. Go look it up.
Toriyama, I think his name is.
Yes, that's it. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So he was a
passed away
pretty
recently.
in 2024, right? 2024, I believe.
Nope. There it goes. I hear that echo again.
He's back with the echo.
There's another echo. All right, I'm gonna.
I think he's probably going to.
You
I'm
touched
so sorry.
something and then it did it. Whatever you touched before it, there it goes. It's good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good now.
I think so.
Let's do
We're
it.
great.
Okay, we're back.
Okay.
So, but by the way, I want to kind of backpedal a little bit because you're talking about this spell casting, right? And we're talking about Hollywood. It makes Mockingbird Media that much more nefarious, right? Because then what you start to get into is if they really are casting spells and it's all about inducing, right? If it bleeds, it leads. Well, now they have a
Yep.
mantra. Whatever their mantra is, they're repeating it over and over and over again. And we know in spell casting that chanting and repetition is part of the process. So that becomes that much more nefarious when you see that really popular video where there's like, I don't know, upwards of 30 different local newscasters, but they're all speaking the exact same phrases in the exact same
Yeah.
Oh,
cadence at
dog.
the
Yes.
exact
They just
same time.
they just did the same thing with Donald Trump and Congress people, like Democrat congressmen and women. It was line for line, and there's about 30 of them. They put them all side by side, and they're
Wow.
saying the same thing line
Yes.
for line. Like,
Yes.
man, it's a
we
spell.
look at this all the time on the
It
show,
is.
right? This MK Ultra thing and how to brainwash a person. But please, I mean, you imagine that if there is truly spell casting, which I believe that there is, then the overlap between MK Ultra brainwashing and spell casting is tremendous. It's much more in common
it's
than
the
they
same
are
exact
different.
thing.
It's the same exact thing, right?
Yeah.
So all of that just becomes that much more nefarious. It's like what you saw, Top, what you're describing is them trying to kick in the spell casting again. Oh, the narrative is changing. We better try to control it. How do we control it? We got to get in these people's minds.
Yes. And that's why it's called the television program. It's pro
Yes.
grimoire. It's pro magic. It's for magic. That's what they're telling you. That's why it's called the channel. When you channel something in the occult, your mind is being open to the wave that it is coming and influencing you. You know, the broadcast, they're broadly casting a spell on everybody who's watching.
It's
Like,
it's
that's
right there in the
literally-
language.
It's all of the language. Like but
Yeah.
people are so oblivious to it because we think these are just like normal terms. No, they're witchcraft terms. And all you got to do is study read some old books, bro. Like read some old definition books of the witchcraft of the occult, and you'll be like, holy mackerel, this is all witchcraft. Like
Kind of clever though.
it's the
isn't
same
it,
exact thing.
to take
Yeah.
these terminologies that like should make you be suspicious, but instead they've turned them into like mundanity. Like you just hear
That's-
them. It's just part
Yeah.
of the TV that's always in the
Yeah.
background. You know, when it has
Yes.
you have something playing for background noise. I love that expression. People will do that. I
Oh
leave my
my
TV
gosh,
on for
terrible.
the dog. Yeah, or for the background noise.
Yeah,
and
for
all
the
that
t-
is
yeah, for
essentially,
the
you might as well have people in black cloaks in the corner of your house just
Yeah,
chanting
yes,
mantras.
Yes,
I used to do
exactly.
that. I used to leave on ESPN when I went to sleep at night. I would set
Oh
my
my
TV
gosh.
to turn off. Like it would be like an hour or 30 minutes, but I'd let
Yes,
it play
yes.
while I slept. And wow,
Mhm.
thinking
Oh,
back
bro,
on
that's
now, yeah.
Oh yeah,
you
that's
were
so
casting
much
spells on
programming.
yourself.
Yeah. And you
All
don't
right.
realize it, and people think it's normalized, and that's the reason why they make these shows and they do this kind of stuff. They want you to be normalized to the occult so that you don't recognize it. You don't
Yes.
recognize truth. You can't look at a cartoon like Dragon Ball and all you do is you go, "Ooh, wow!" You have no clue that it's completely ripping from the stories of the Nephilim. You have no clue that it's completely distorting and making the Nephilim look like the good guys. It's making the wickedness look like good. It's talking like it's taking everything that's perverse and occultic and then blending it into your culture. So like, sure, there's other things in there that are neutral. Sure, there's things in there that are like wacky or unusual, but the overarching theme is to normalize you to the Nephilimization of our society, which is
Right,
what they've
but
been doing
You know
forever.
who's not doing that, Brian? And this is somebody that I look at them and I go, "This is a good show." They're not doing that. Dragon Ball Z is not doing that. That's a product, right? A product that is it's a quality product, and it's certainly one that wouldn't be trying to like insert,
Of course
occult
not, right?
Themology. No, they're not doing that, right? So, but I'm sure we're here to talk maybe about another show that does that.
There
maybe
may be a little bit of something that we'll talk about, but first, you know what we're going to do? I'm actually going to first, before we get into the understanding the Nephilimization in Japanese lore and historical context, we got to understand a little bit of Japanese. And so Japanese and ancient Chinese. So first things first, I want you to share my screen. Let's go into this.
Ooh,
Okay, it's up.
very
Let's see it.
interesting. Okay.
So
all right.
we're starting right now, guys. So this in Japanese is the word for people. It's jin.
Okay.
This is the word for heaven. Okay.
Mm.
And this is the word for giant. What do you think happened in the stories of the Nephilim?
That's fascinating.
The people mated with the giants, and people mated with the children of heaven and bore giants. Okay.
That's
Holy
exactly
crap.
what
This
that
is-
is. Yeah, it's the middle point. It's the gap that's bridged between us and them.
Yep. And so it's pronounced jin as in Gentile, but also as in normal people. Also as jin as in jinn, demon. Okay, so that's another side note, but we'll get into
Majin
some other
Buu.
channel.
Oh,
Majin, yes.
No.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Stop
Oh,
connecting
yes.
dots so
Yeah,
early.
this
No,
is
no,
like-
no.
this is
Okay.
a-
You
Hold
can
on.
start
For some
Vegeta.
reason,
connect.
guys.
With the Majin sign on his head.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is wrong, dude. This
Ma-
is
The
wrong.
audience,
Jin
for some
Buu.
reason, is saying they can't see this, which is strange because I can see it. I don't know why.
Oh,
that's the
good.
case.
Fix it.
Oh, wait a
Fix it.
second. Let me see if I can fix that. Here we go. Okay.
Does
Can
that
we
work
see
for
it
you
now?
guys? Can you see that now? Or
It's
we
working
check out
on my
the-
channel.
Yeah, I can see it. There we go. Okay, they said there we go. There it is.
Okay,
so I guess
cool.
when you all right, is what it is.
All right, so
yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, let's continue forward. So people, heaven, giants. For those that don't know the stories of the Nephilim, the humans mated with the people of heaven and they bore giants. That's in ancient Chinese and Japanese. That's how this is written. Okay. So we got people, heaven, giants. Now you've also got dog, which is also, it's the word giant, but with a little dash added to the tip to represent like a nose. Okay.
Oh, I thought it
And
was
this
like
is
it's like a pirate with a little bird on his shoulder.
Exactly. Sure. And then this is dog conjugated. They actually like basically kick one of the legs over to the side and then lift it up. And so they join this word with a lot of different words. Okay. When you want to add the word dog to something. Okay. So the conjugated word for dog. This is actually the word for fire, which sometimes is simultaneously used as the word spirit, but notice it's the word, but with broken arms, which is interesting. Okay. And so, understanding this principle, this means basically right here, this means Nephilim. Okay. This means Nephilim. That's the symbol for Nephilim. You see it over and over. And if we just go into Dragon Ball Z, I'm going to just bring up this picture real quick here of some of the angels. Why is my thing not wanting to bring it up? I'll see if it will load. Okay, there we go. What do you see on the belt of that guy?
Hold on, wait.
Can you guys
don't
see my
say it
screen?
yet.
giant symbol.
Okay, yeah, it's the symbol for giants. That's fascinating.
This guy is like the I forget exactly what he is, but I think he's like the overlord
He's
of
the he's
They've
the
also got
overarching
this-
angel. He's the highest ranking angel.
And they
Right,
also
But
got this
notice
inverted
he's an
triangle
angel
on
with
their
this
shirt.
symbol. But also, you see Vegeta's red hair has this symbol as well. Yes,
Right.
and
Yeah, that
the
means,
triangle, which is the pyramid and the sacrifice.
So Vegeta with the red hair means that he is that's in like God mode, right?
God
It's been
mode.
wild.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all right.
So this
here's
is this
how
is.
here's,
But isn't
here's
that
what they're-
fascinating? What were you
Sorry, go
saying?
ahead, Brian. No, I'm just
Oh, no, no.
explaining.
You go.
I think I'm on
Go
a
for
little
it.
bit of a delay. The red hair means that they are in God mode. So there's like levels of Super Saiyan. Goku there is in Ultra Instinct form, which is different. But God mode is I forget exactly how they get there, but it's a form of they're saying that they are like a god when they have this red
Yeah,
hair.
they're God.
Okay.
Exactly. Well, they're
You know
Nephilim
what's
gods.
interesting that
God.
might be worth mentioning too is that it's called, Super Dragon Ball Heroes, and
Yes.
that's how the Nephilim were described, right? The heroes of old, the men of
Heroes of old. Yep.
Huh.
Absolutely.
Huh.
Okay, so back to some more stuff here. So that's just a little side nugget that I think is very fascinating. I mean, they're telling you right there that they are the Nephilim. Like they're telling you with their belt. All you got to do is look at the stupid little symbol he has on his belt. And those are one of the angels of the character in the most recent animation thing. There's a few other things we can talk about in Japanese that doesn't necessarily relate to Dragon Ball, but might be something fascinating to mention. Like, for instance, this is the word for legs, and this is the word for mouth. Okay, so look at those symbols, legs, mouth, and you conjugate these words and you put them together. This is the word for tree. This is the word for garden or field. Okay, tree, garden, and field. Okay, this is the word for woman. All right, remember that symbol right there, and this is evening, which is Eve. And then this is corpse or evil. Okay, it's a similar conjugated thing that they kind of put together. And then Eden is the word humanity in a box. And so if we go down to, let's go down to the word for fruit juice, which is literally garden plus tree plus, this is the conjugated version of heart plus a cross. And which is kind of interesting because Jesus turned water into what? Wine? Isn't that fascinating? That they have the word Jesus, heart, garden, tree. Kind of weird. Fruit. Let's go to the word naked. This is the radical Z for God, which Z means God, if you didn't know this. And then this is garden plus the word tree, and that's the word naked. So God plus garden plus tree is the ancient Chinese word for naked.
Huh.
What does that mean? What does that tell you? And then forbidden is two trees next to each other, plus the word below it is the word show. So two trees show is their word for forbidden. Isn't that
so
fascinating?
this is really fascinating because I've seen a bit of this before in the past. Somebody was bringing this up about how they are also sort of a content creator who is in the biblical sphere, and they were pointing out this. And what stuck out to me is like, wow, it's a very efficient language then in that way, because you have this one symbol that you can dissect, and it's a multitude of symbols put together to birth a new meaning, but it's all encapsulated. So much meaning is encapsulated in just this one little character. And in that way, it is kind of profound how efficient it is.
Oh yeah, and you know what? I know Japanese, like maybe 20% of Japanese because I know the Bible. Because I know the plain symbols of this, I can read like Chinese and Japanese texts, and I can usually look at a sigil, like a symbol, and kind of guess on average what it kind of means. Like I can just, because I know the Bible, like I could be like, oh, that looks like the word Jacob who grabbed Esau's heel, so that word has something to do with competition. Like I can guess by looking at the words simply because I know the Bible stories. So like all of them deal with something. Now, this is a really interesting word that I have to explain to you real quick. So the word monkey, okay? The word monkey is actually that conjugated word right there, dog, which is again the word Nephilim with a little dash, right? Conjugated sideways plus the word humanity. So dog plus humanity equals monkey.
That's
okay?
fascinating.
Saru. That is very fascinating when you understand that.
What do you think
because
that's saying?
well, when we get into that, it's connecting to the fact that the word monkeys and apes are actually de-evolved Nephilim. They're and I've talked about this on my show. If you watch my show, go to Ancient Angels podcast on Demon Erasers channel. You can learn more about that. But the monkeys and apes are de-evolved, basically Nephilim that have been retarded. Okay, they've been like de-evolved to the point where they've like gone back to like an animalistic state.
And that would still explain why we share so much in common with them as far as genetics go. Like,
Yeah,
that wouldn't throw that off at all.
No, we didn't evolve from monkeys. They de-evolved from humans and angels hybridizing from the Nephilim lineage. So like, and there's a bunch of stuff connected to that. If you read the book of Jasher, it actually says that God turned the men that tried to build the Tower of Babel. It says he turned them into apes and elephants in the book of Jasher, those that tried to organize the building of the Tower of Babel. And so, and then there's another text in the book of Jasher as well, where it says that there was these people, these monsters that came out of a whirlwind, attacking, I forget who had the asses in the wilderness, Anah, I believe it was. And it said that the creatures that came out of the whirlwind had from the middle up, they were like, or from the middle down, they were like children of men, and from the middle up, they were like bears or kifas, which is kof, is the closest word we got, which means gorillas. So they or means monkeys in some regard in Hebrew. So it would be like they were bear, monkey, humans. What do you get when you mix a bear, monkey, and a human, if not a gorilla?
Bear, pig.
Yeah, man, bear, pig. Exactly. It's the same. It's the
South Park
same.
stuff.
It's literally, well, you got to understand, like all these things are pawning off of concepts of ancient text, and they don't even, whether they realize it or not, this is where it's coming from. So man, bear, pig is for sure, it's a Nephilimizing thing from the book of Jasher. And so when you go into it, you realize this. Now, what do they call the Saiyans when they turn into those big hairy monkey people? What is their form called again?
Great apes.
Uzaru.
Yeah.
Uzaru.
Yeah. U means great, and Zaru or Saru means monkey. Okay, so great ape. Okay, Usaru. U also means old. Okay, it doesn't just mean great, it means old. So like old Nick means old Satan, old the devil. His name is always U or Ol. So you'll notice U or Ol means old, which it's usually has a negative connotation when you see it in most things. So this is the word for humanity. Soil, it's soil, mouth, and legs. Oh, by the way, here's the word for demon. Just so you guys know, the word demon is the word garden plus the word legs plus the word secret. Isn't that fascinating? So that's their word for demon. Yeah, and then their word for the devil or magic is 2 trees plus the word garden plus the word legs plus the word secret plus the word house over top of it. And that's Ma, which is the devil or magic or manipulation. And you'll see things like Ma, like Majanbu, and you'll see these kind of things. Ma, which means evil, it means magic, okay? But evil magic, okay? And then the word Akuma, which is the official name for the devil, is heart below even the devil's magic. So Akuma is like the official evil title. That's like Satan's name in Japanese. Okay, Akuma.
The in Samurai Jack, the main baddie was called Aku, and he was like a shape-shifting serpentine dragon, I don't know, overlord of the underworld, more or less, and his name was Aku. So yeah, you can see that being used again.
Absolutely. And then lastly, the one thing I got to show you guys here, there's more. I have another on my channel. I'll be breaking down all these terms in Japanese on my next podcast, talking about stuff in more detail.
Oh, that's a great tool, because this is a fascinating like field of study. These characters are something I never really looked at before, and just on a cursory view, you can tell there's a lot of depth to this.
Oh, there's so much to it. Like I'm telling you right now, if you know the Bible and you sit down, I'm going to go through all of the Bible stories in relation to Japanese and ancient Chinese and break this down to where people are going to be like, whoa. Like I talk to people that speak Chinese, bro, and I just talk to them a few things. I go, oh yeah, your word this, it comes from this. And like, dude, I've already spoken to like quite a few different people that know Chinese, and immediately they're like, I'm a Christian. They're like, oh my gosh, like what? They're like, how is this in our language? Everything's right there.
I don't know if this one is true, but if it is, it's tremendous. Oh, here we go. Shout out to Jeepai over on Twitch. He says the Chinese word righteousness is the symbol blood over lamb.
I have it right in here actually. I think it's
How
just
cool
passed
is
it.
that, man? He says which was developed by the underground church because there was no such word before in Chinese text. That's fascinating. That's very cool.
Yep.
I love that.
And then their word Lord is tree plus water or eternal water plus lamb. And it's like, why would they have the word lamb in their word for Lord? Like, that is so unusual. Like, there's so many words in their language that has to do with God, and they always refer to the word lamb. It's like the word lamb is their word. So anyway, so the word bewitched, by the way, is woman plus heaven. Okay? Bewitched. That is, or to lead astray by seducing, which is woman plus heaven. That's the word for bewitched. And then that's the women that mated with the children of heaven. They were bewitched. Okay? And then it says, and then their word for ghost, which is yokai, is woman, heaven, plus the word mystery. But this is mystery of life specifically. And the word mystery is heart, while, which is the little ribbon, little like loop. And then the bottom word is soil. Heart while soil. Who is heart while soil? Adam is heart while soil. And that's their word for mystery, meaning we don't know like how that happened. How is he alive while soil? So you take mystery of life plus bewitched plus woman plus heaven, and this is the word for ghost or yokai. But if you read,
there's a child show called Yokai Watch, and it's like, you want to talk about the Japanese get their sort of like esoteric lore very accurate in their anime.
They do.
Oh yes,
yeah, they really do, dude. So Yokai Watch was like filled with you know, I don't know what you would call it, like mythologically accurate little baddies, ghosts and demons and all kinds of things that would interact with the main character. And yeah, it's called Yokai Watch. They don't even, it's funny because in America, it's passing through that filter of Japanese language, so we don't see the significance. But in Japan, they've just kind of put it right on its face, huh?
Oh yeah, they speak it all the time in all their lore. I mean, like, you could just look at the what's that other show, the other Japanese show with the giants, Attack on Titan.
Oh, Attack on Titan.
Everything about Attack on Titan is Nephilimized. It's all
I don't know
stories
if you've ever
for
watched
Nephilim.
it. I tried to watch the first episode of it, like as an adult. I was like, I keep hearing about this thing. I'll watch it. In the very first episode, a giant Nephilim eats some kid's mother. Eats her alive, and it's so graphic, and it's so it's written so well, and it's presented so well that I found myself genuinely bummed out for this fictional cartoon child watching his mom get munched on by a giant, and I was like, I don't know if I could watch this, dude. It's a heavy.
It's based mind controls too, so I mean, it's all about. So like understanding the those kind of concepts though in all of their culture, like in the Japanese lore and all the animes, they are all ripping from the stories of the Nephilim. I mean, like the first Titan in the story of Attack on Titan, she actually becomes the Titan by eating an apple, by eating a fruit from a tree.
Annie, right?
Yeah, I think that might be it. Yeah, and she becomes the first Titan, and so you're like, okay, that's. Where do we get the story of the tree, of eating the fruit of the tree? Like, I mean, like it's a blending and perversion of all the biblical stories mixed together in a way that distorts your perception of reality. So that way, when you hear the stories of the Bible, you're like, oh, that sounds like Attack on Titan. That's not right, or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they don't want you to know the real history. They want you to know the perverted history, so you're disillusioned from what's really going on.
I think people don't realize that either, Brian. It's like so much of the media that we enjoy in one shape or form is actually just retelling of biblical stories. I mean, the Bible has such fundamentally sound stories, and I know this is like a historical retelling and everything, but like just the way these stories resonate with the human experience, you'll find that, like, I was watching something the other day. It's talking about how the Lion King is like the story of Cain and Abel. And they start to go into this, between Scar and Mufasa, whichever one. And so, it's like, well, look at The Lion King. If that's true, that is one of the highest grossing films of all time, full stop, right? So there's a lot of examples like that where you're like, this is really just a retelling of, and to your point, Brian, probably some sort of twist somewhere along the story that makes you empathize one way or another with the wrong characters.
Yeah, and not only do they do that, but they also embed spells and all kinds of different things into the content as well. Like, I mean, you mentioned the Lion King. I'll say something I haven't really put out there very publicly, but I know this. But like, Hakuna Matata, right? You think that means no worries?
Dude, it means no worries.
No, it means no fathers. Look it up. I promise you. Look it up. In Zulu, type in right now. Type in Google Translate Zulu Hakuna Matata. Write it all out as one word.
Oh no.
Hakuna Matata in Zulu
means
no fathers. Not even joking with you, bro.
It's horrifying too, because within Disney movies, it's not just typically the dad, although oftentimes most of the time it is the dad. There's always one dead parent. They do that over and over. It's like a thing, right? In the beginning of the movie, the main characters, somebody dies, their brother, their father, their uncle, whatever. And then that's the catalyst for whatever the pivotal moment in this kid's life is, or the main character's life is. But yeah, it's always I guess Hakuna Matata. It's no fathers.
Mm-hmm. Did you look it up? Were you able to look it up?
I'm trying to find it put to English. Here we go. Let's see. It's just saying no worries, but in Zulu or I don't know. I'm also kind of retarded.
Well, I'll look it up. We'll do a thing sometime, and I'll look it up. When we do the next one, I'll show you what it actually means, because then you can see it on Google Translate. And recently, Google Translate's been actually adjusting their terms. I'll just show you right now.
Whenever we try to look up,
so in Japanese, I'm going to tell you right now, Hakuna means evil, means demons, and Matata means many. So in Japanese, Hakuna Matata means many evil demons. Look.
So that's what this pig and this prairie dog are singing to this little orphan lion.
Many evil demons. Look. It literally means Hakuna Matata means many evil demons. And then if you type in Hakuna Matata, I don't know if you guys can see that. It means there are no fathers. That means there are no fathers.
There are no fathers. That's so funny. Oh,
and it depends. And even how you type it, if you space it certain ways, if you type Hakuna Matata, that means there are troubles. And then if you type
none of this sounds like no worries, dog. All of this is like big worries.
It's not good. Yeah, it's big worries. It's big problems. And like, bro, that like, dude, this is okay. Next episode. We're going to talk about Disney. And I'll break down some spells that you guys don't know. People are singing these songs. Hakuna Matata means no fathers. It straight up means there are no fathers.
Wow, there are no fathers in any Disney movies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In Disney movies, maybe Disney is responsible for the single motherhood.
Oh, absolutely.
The past couple of months, right? Or the past couple of years, rather.
100%. Disney has been casting spells to curse fathers away from their families. I'm not even joking.
Fascinating.
So I know that sounds absurd, but that's the truth. So, anyways,
speaking of absurd, Brian, it is absurd that we have allowed these people to watch an additional 8 minutes of this live stream before cutting it to go exclusively to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Guys, we're going to be cutting the stream to YouTube, to Twitch, to X, to Rumble. But don't worry about it, because you can come on over to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad, and you can sign up for free. You don't have to pay anything at all to continue watching this episode, enjoying an ad-free viewing experience, and checking it out before the general public does. Otherwise, we're out of here, guys. Okay, so please, let's go ruining more childhood things. Let's
ruin some more. Okay.
Yeah.
So now that we've gotten the basis down about understanding of what's going on with Dragon Ball, right? I've taught you a little bit of lore, a little bit of history. There's a little bit of understanding when it comes to monkeys and it comes to Wukong, which they tell you whom the Goku is named after. Well, Goku's not named after that. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, Goku's name is from Gokumats, and Gokumats is a Mayan god. And I'm just going to read you the description of Gokumats, okay? And Mats is like Matsumoto. It's just a nickname ending thing, okay?
Brian's
but Gokumats.
Super buff, yellow hair, can fly. Yeah,
just wait. Well, when you understand what this is, you're going to be like, okay, I get it. Okay, Gokumats is a complex and revered deity in Mayan mythology. As the feathered serpent, he represents the union of the earthly and the celestial realms. His association with wind, notice how he flies on a cloud, and rain highlights his role in the agriculture and fertility, which are vital to the sustenance of life. In the Popola Vu, Gokumatsu works alongside other deities to shape the world and create humanity. He's often depicted as a benevolent figure who brings knowledge and civilization to humanity.
Did you say
Gokumatsu.
winged serpent? Is that what you said?
He's the plumed serpent. It's Quetzalcoatl. It's Kukulkan. It's the
Quetzalcoatl,
dragon.
right.
Yes, that's Gokumatsu. Okay,
Yeah,
this is Goku. This is Gokumatsu. He's not. And
when you hear
in
that
his
idea, Bryan-
writings.
go ahead.
Oh yeah. Keep going.
I was gonna say, do you does that idea resonate with you that when we're talking about the winged serpent or the way that Japanese or Chinese dragons are depicted, right? Quetzalcoatl, things of that nature. That
It's
this
all
is,
the same.
well, I'm saying, do you subscribe to that idea that this is a branch of angel, like the seraphim?
You know, it's whether it is what they actually look like or it's just the representation of them. Like either way, it's connected. So I don't know if I would go into the assumption that they actually looked like snakes or feathered serpents or flying dragons. I don't know if I would go that far, but it's possible. I mean, like we don't know because we just have writings, right? And so all the depictions of them describe them subtly different though, but it does say feathered serpent or plumed serpent or flying serpent. So this is a flying dragon of some kind. Now, whether that was in their imagination that it flew or not, that's Goku right there, buddy. There's your Goku.
Yeah. It kind of puts a
that's
different
what
image
he's
in your
named
head
after.
when you see him running Snake away.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
in the clouds, running this serpent's back.
Oh, totally does. Isn't that funny? Snake
yeah.
way, like
Yeah.
bro, because he's not going to heaven, bro. That's
He even
not
goes
what that
to
is.
hell. That's what Snake Way. That's so funny.
Well, the
Snake
devil,
Way is
the
the way.
guy-
When he goes there, there's those twin demons that are kind of in the enforcers. Then there's the big horned guy who sits at the desk. He's kind of like the overseer of hell. That the
Goku's
underworld.
father-in-law is his name?
Is the Ox Satan? His name is
The Ox.
Yeah, dude.
Ox. Well, he's called the Ox King, but in Japanese he's called the Ox Satan because Japanese don't recognize the word Satan as who we recognize him as. So he's called the Ox King in our lore, right? But he is literally, and he lives on Fire Mountain in the Diablo Desert. Okay,
And he's
that's
such a
the
nice
Ox
guy. Look
Satan.
at him. He's so happy.
Yeah, that's in his. Yeah, exactly. That's the point. And then guess what? Goku's married to Chi-Chi.
Yeah.
Okay, Chi-Chi is how you say father in Japanese. Isn't that perverted?
Damn. Goku.
Why
married
is
his
he?
father?
So wait, he's married to Chi-Chi? Like, okay, that's really weird. That's really strange, isn't it?
Damn.
That's literally how you say it. So why did they name Goku's wife father? Like, is that not an inversion of perversion in some regard? Like,
Right, yeah.
there's something weird there.
Well, they do that, right? Because
completely.
you're looking at the Ox King, and he's a big, happy, lovable guy. You're looking at Goku's wife, and she's named after a man, or she is, she has the moniker of father.
She definitely wears the pants in the family.
That's true too.
That's also another perversion of our societal's perspective of things. Like it's subverting your perspective of what roles a man is supposed to take. Okay?
Yeah.
It makes you think that men are supposed to be violent fighters and then ignorant morons when it comes to home life, not leaders. There's no character in the Dragon Ball world that I would be like, hey, I want to be that guy. Like none of them have any characteristics that are like, when you really break them down, you're like, none of them have like good standing characteristics. You're like, that's worthy of being a person.
There's only one, and it's an inversion of Christ, right? And that is that Goku continuously sacrifices himself for humanity.
Yep. Stealing the identity of Christ entirely.
Right. Yeah.
But then at the same time being completely ignorant. They want you to be ignorant. Okay? And he's a moron. Like he's literally moronic about things. It's not something that you want in your life. It's not something that you want to hold that understanding of. Okay?
I always identified more with Vegeta anyway. Like I never really got Goku. He was
You're a bad guy.
Well, he's a protagonist, but Vegeta has more of a personality. I'm sure we're going to tear down whatever Vegeta is, but continue, Brian.
Goku
Sorry.
has a personality, right? He's a nice guy. Go on, please. Let's go.
Just so you know, Gokumatsu comes from the Popovu, okay? This is Popo. Mr. Popo Yeah, Mr. Popo.
Yeah, the most racist
This is the
character on
writing
Dragon
where
Ball Z. He's
Goku
doing
Mats
blackface.
is from. And yeah, why don't you bring up Mr. Popo? Let's bring up a little image
Hey,
of Mr.
why don't,
Popo.
you know what? I think it's time for Mr. Popo to answer for his racial antics. Look at this guy.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Okay, again, this is everything about Dragon Ball. Type in another guy for me, Swarty Pete. Type in Swarty Pete.
That
How do you
sounds
spell
really
that?
familiar.
Swarty, Swarty Pete. P-E.
Yeah, this is
I-T.
really familiar. Where are we going with this? Hold on a second.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Let's look at Swarty Pete, the top right there. There you go. That's Mr. Popo. Do you know who Swarty Pete is? Swarty Pete's a demon. Okay, he is a demon. This is the depiction, earlier depictions of how they would draw high-ranking demons that are, imprisoned or enchained. They're covered in ash, and then their mouth is red and big to represent the blood of their big mouths eating people, and that's why they left them that way. So it's not like we've construed the perspective of this, and we now call it blackface, but that's not what it was back in the day. It was a depiction of a demon. That's what that was.
Yeah,
Okay, it
yeah,
was not.
okay.
It was not. It's not blackface.
I just wanted to say
It's-
shout out to Paul Stobbs of Understanding Conspiracy. That was the first time that I heard of Swarty Pete. I knew that sounded familiar. Man, funny that this guy makes it back in here again. So
Yeah.
not blackface, but meant more so to indicate a blood drenched mouth.
Yes, of a Nephilim, and and this is from the Popol Vuh, which talks about Gokumats. Okay, so
Yeah.
when you understand where these terms are coming from, it's like, oh, that makes sense because that's the Mayan perspective. Okay.
He also looks like a sort of a depiction of a djinn, right? Like a
Oh
genie.
yes, he is. He's exactly what he is. He's a djinn for sure. He's a demon, and he's got pointed ears, which also is a reference to the fallen angels and their genetic mixing, which I have an episode. If you go to Ancient Angels podcast on my Demon Erasers channel, you can learn about that kind of stuff. So let's go into. Let's go into further. I've got my little notes here to figure out things that I've left out. Okay, so we've also got Goku. Oh, Gohan, Goku's son, who's married to Videl, right?
Right.
Videl is the name for devil. It's just an anagram. Okay,
And her father.
And her father.
Yeah, and her
is Mr.
father
Satan.
is Mr. Satan.
Yeah.
Okay, so Goku Mats is married to a woman named Man, okay, whose father is the Ox Satan, and then his son is married to another woman who is named Devil, which is an anagram, and her father is Mr. Satan. Okay, and Mr. Satan, the thing about Mr. Satan, I just got to read you the thing on Mr. Satan so that way you guys can understand, because honestly, it's so unusual to understand Mr. Satan's titles and everything. Okay. Mr. Satan's real name, by the way, is Mark. I don't know if you know that. It's Mark, or it's Maku. And this name is a pun on Japanese word Akuma. Okay. Which means
there's that
malevolent
Aku.
demonic spirit, which is Satan. Okay. That's his name. It's a pun of their language for some reason.
His
I
name
don't
is
understand it.
Mark?
Yeah, that's one of his names, but
That's
they only
odd.
the writer wrote that out. He didn't actually put that known in the show. I guess. Okay. And then here's the other thing. So, Mr. Satan, also known as Hercule, which is French for Hercules, by the way.
Yes.
Satan in the Funimation is dubbed the word martial arts champion of the Earth's protector. His realm is Earth, and it says, okay, Dragon Ball wrestling aliases akin to professional grappler stage name. He also is known by other names, including Mr. Satan, Mr. Hercule, Mr. Savage, Enfer. Enfer is another name he goes by in another language, which, by the way, the word Enfer means hell in French. Okay. Master Pogi, Master Handsome, and Mark the World's Champion. Okay.
Damn, I don't know when did he had all. When I was a kid, I remember him being called Hercule, and then I was very upset when I found that he was actually also called Mr. Satan. But I didn't learn that till like some years after my love for Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid. I had no idea he had. You just listed off like 8 names.
They called him Hercule Satan at one point. I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's weird, right? Because these demonic entities are constantly shifting names. They're always going by
changing their
something
name.
different.
Always changing. They don't want you to know their name, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's why it's called Dragon Balls. Okay. It's literally the lineage of their balls, of their heritage, of their generations.
Damn
Okay.
it.
It's like their generations and how their generations have perceived into different forms.
When I was a kid, my
all of their
stepdad
forms.
used to say, "Oh, what are you doing? Watching dragging your balls on the ground?" And I used to go, "No, it's called Dragon Ball Z, and you just wouldn't understand it." And now it's like he was kind of
He was right. He was totally right,
dude.
But he didn't understand it. The reason
did.
I think the reason it resonated so much with us, like the youth, is because inherently there is something about this. It's telling you this deeper story, and I feel like if you don't get Dragon Ball Z, I'm a little suspicious of you, or at least if this doesn't attract you in some form or fashion.
You
'Cause
know,
it's a great story, right? It has like
I brutally beat all of my cousins up every time we would get together. We would watch Dragon Ball Z, and then when the credits would roll, we would just beat the shit out of each other. Like that was every single episode of Dragon Ball Z. It would just inspire us to assault each other, to commit assault on one another. I love that show so much, and I loved beating my cousin's ass because of it. It's just, I don't know if that was the part that's
what they were trying to evoke that in you.
Oh,
probably.
hell yeah, dude! You kidding me? I would kick my cousin in the chest
It
after
was
watching Goku do some shit.
That's the point. It was teaching you to channel a spirit of rage. That's literally what it was programming you to do. It was programming you to channel into this.
I can't even, so Dragon Ball Z is probably, I can't even pretend it's not, a huge inspiration for what has become a decades long martial arts experience. Like I've been a martial artist for about a decade now. It'll be a year or 10 years next year. And yeah, that was birthed out of, that was almost 100% birthed out of Dragon Ball Z.
I was right there with you, bro. I was right there with you in some regard. And so I get it, and I understand it. But like now knowing what I know and seeing the impact of it, it's like I would never let my kids watch.
There we go. Shout out Def Not Piccoloed Egg. He says Vegeta doing push-ups in 100x gravity was motivating. Dog, it was motivating. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, but now you know that it is, your, Top's dad calling it Dragon Balls or whatever, or whatever.
My stepdad, my stepdad.
Your stepdad. Okay. Yeah. So that's, he was right. He was right. And so and that's why they put stars in the balls too, because the stars represent the fallen angels. That's why there's stars in the balls, because the word star means fallen angel. It's the same synonymous term. And so the Dragon Balls is literally, again, it's generations, okay? It's talking about the generations of them. And so, and then even the names of all the things in it are related to stuff that is occultic in nature. Like they just pervert it, like bibbity boppity boo, okay?
Yeah, Brian,
bibbity boppity boo.
Question. So
got one.
Well, I do. I have the most important one. This is the 4-star Dragon Ball, which this is Goku's. The 4-star is the most important. This is the one that was on Gohan's hat. This is the one that Goku kind of he always has this Dragon Ball, and at least from Dragon Ball the original show into Dragon Ball Z, this is important with Gohan, and I think GT even touches on this as well. But is there some kind of importance with the number 4? Why are they using the number 4 a lot? At least with this Dragon Ball, like they're bringing a significance to it.
I don't know if there is a significance that I can recognize in the number 4. I don't pay too much attention to the numerology of things, but I don't know it's anything, maybe it was just like 4 demons that conjured up this cartoon. Like, and maybe they're just bragging about it, and they're like, hey, the 4 of us, let's make ourselves, more known in these little 4 stars.
Right.
Right. Who knows how they manifested that. I don't recognize anything occultic though connecting to it. We'll say at least, But anyways, yeah, the Dragon Ball, that is a representation of 4 little demons in that little ball you got there. That's what that's talking about.
So,
and if you
there a higher meaning to the whole bibbity bobbity boo thing? Because I thought I was clever when I was a kid, and I realized that was from Cinderella. Right, you have the fairy godmothers. It's actually their song "Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo." So I didn't think that there was much of an issue beyond that. I figured it was just somebody when they were doing the dub or they were doing the English translation, they just arbitrarily picked some names and they popped them out of Cinderella, right? But maybe not the case.
Right,
or created by the Brothers Grimm.
Yeah, exactly. So that is an occultic term. That is a witchcraft spell, by the way. So and then it's Ma-jun Bu. Ma means magic, and then Jin, Ma-jin Bu. So it's magic, Jin, magic demon, Bu. It's literally, and that's why we call ghosts booze. Okay, this is why we call them, like, this term is not it's an occultic magic term. And so if you study the ancient word of the occult things, like, I don't know if the dude wrote this knowing that this is where this came from, or if he just got inspired and named it this. Like, I don't honestly know if this dude even looked this stuff up, or if he was just channeling demons when he was writing it. But either way, this is demonic. Like, it does come from demonic
There's
roots.
too much. There's too much for it not to be intentional. Like, even like some of the smaller things that are just like little weird play on names, he knows, and he's putting that in there. But what's weird is how it translates in English as well. Like, they purposefully do this in multiple languages to all mean the same thing. So that's, I don't know where to put that.
It's fascinating too, because if you look at the whole Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo thing, so I know like Bobbidi was Bibbidi's father, and they were both wizards, and essentially what they've done here is they have, like, you know, via Solomonistic magic, they've entrapped Majin Buu to do their bidding, right? That's essentially that same trope.
That's the story of Solomon, bro.
Yes. And also, one of the other people that Bibbidi has on his team is a full-fledged demon named Deborah. He's just a giant demon. Like, there's no other way to even look at that dude. He's just massively, he looks like a Satan from Legend with Tom Cruise. He looks like that.
He turns people to stone, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yes, he does turn them to stone. That's what he does. Yeah. He's got yellow eyes too, because he's
I didn't know that he turns them to stone. That's fascinating.
Yeah, dog.
Oh, well, that's even, it's like so Nephilimized.
Check him out. I look at him. I mean, how else do you even, he looks like Anton LaVey, and, you know, and got mixed up with a giant demon. Exactly what you would expect a demon to look like.
Like, straight up.
Yeah.
I didn't know he turns people to stone. That's even more fitting, because that was like the Nephilim's, like, character trait, is they had an ability to manipulate stone. And so if you know the historical context of what Nephilim did, they would turn. That's where the concept of trolls turning to stone, or Medusa turning things into stone.
Right.
You know, all this stems from occultic connections to stone. They had an ability to manipulate stone, to move stones, to build things with stone. Like, they had an ability that was unique to the metaphysical understanding of how rock was formed. Okay, and so they could do that.
Guy too. It wasn't just Deborah. It was also an elongated skull homie. Like, that was, I forget what his name was, but he had a couple of guys. Right. He had two kind of pro wrestler characters, bald, buff pro wrestler characters. They got their ass whooped at the Tournament of Power. I remember that. And then he had another guy with an elongated skull, and then he had Deborah. So yeah, he had like this kind of Nephilim
I don't remember the elongated skull guy. I didn't remember that.
I forget what his bag was. I think Piccolo waxed him. He waxed him. He stood no chance. But
the elongated skull guy is that's very fascinating. I want to like, if you find his name, pick him up. I just want to see him, because I don't even remember him.
Find Bibbidi's squad. I see you scrolling through the things in the side there. He's got two bald wrestler dudes, an elongated skull dog, and then the demon Deborah. Yeah, man.
Dude, this is all demonic. It's all Nephilim-esque, like, homage paying things.
Can I ask you this, Brian? So are we looking at, like, Vegeta, the Saiyans? Are we looking at the Saiyans as, like, a race of angels? Because I recognize the significance of, there you go. There's the elongated head guy. You can't really see it because he's forward facing.
Oh, okay. I see him.
But
I know you're talking about. I vaguely remember him. Yeah.
So when Chi-Chi has Gohan is, you know, he has this untapped power. There's something special about the union of Saiyan and human beings that gives birth
it's
to
Nephilim.
Right. So does that then make the Saiyans fallen angels?
Yeah, well, the Nephilim, they're a race of Nephilim, okay? That's, you know, they essentially are the children of the fallen angels. And again, if you know the historical context, by the way, Gohan's son is named Pan. Okay, like
his daughter.
Pan. Daughter. Sorry, daughter.
Yeah.
Gohan's his child is named Pan. Okay, like the goat god Pan.
Yep.
Like,
damn.
Why do you think they named it that? Like, why is his whole lineage is satanic? Okay, they're telling you Satan, Mr. Satan, Ox Satan, Gohan, Goku, like Pan, like, dude, Videl, which is devil, like, dude, the whole thing is wicked being presented as good, all of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you get into this understanding, it's like, bro, what is the characteristics of the Nephilim? You've known by now, I'm sure, watching a lot of my stuff, but the characteristics are hairy. They're hairy. What happens when they turn into their Saiyan form? Oh, they grow more hair.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that Well, isn't that fascinating? Yeah, sure, it's the
Everything
hair on
is
their
about
head.
the hair. It's the only discernible. Well, no, not just the hair on their head, because when they turn into like Super Saiyan 4, they get full monkey bodies.
Yes.
If you look that up top, like Super Saiyan 4, you'll see their whole bodies are covered in hair.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Goku's covered in red hair, which is fascinating. A very interesting decision. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, in GT, both Vegeta and Goku had red body hair. Yeah, that was the way they did that. So there he is.
Oh, really?
Yep. He's got all this red body hair and his monkey tail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
There
that.
you go.
Yeah. Yep. That's a Nephilim for you guys right there. That's Nephilim.
That's so fucked, man.
Mhm. So you
Sorry,
guys are
first
worshiping the Nephilim.
No, we were just doing karate. What are you talking about? Oh my God. Damn, dude. It seems so obvious in hindsight. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of top that image just like dripped away. There's a lot of, when I stop and slow it down and start looking at it, there's a whole lot of bizarre esoteric details. I mean, just what you're saying here, how for some reason everybody that surrounds the main character is Satan themed in one way or another, right? I don't know how else to interpret that. I think when I was a kid, I used to go, the Japanese think American lore is funny. So I don't know.
No, they are pulling from it. They're literally pulling from it. My friend just sent me a message. He says, Daima, they literally go to the demon realm.
Do they
and
really?
DBZ Daima, they literally go to the demon realm.
I haven't watched it because it's sacrilegious, because I don't want anything that deviates from the original, so I've not watched it yet. But yeah, now that I think about it, all the little bad guys, they all look like winged demons. That's crazy.
Dude, it's all demonic, dude. And they are the Nephilim. They're covered in hair. The Nephilim are known for being giants. They're also known for being covered in hair. They're also known for being genetically lineage connected to the monkeys or gorillas. That's why the word gorilla in Japanese, or the word monkey in Japanese, is humanity plus the word Nephilim. Okay, that's where this comes from. Wukong is a Nephilim, by the way. Wukong, where they say that he comes from. Okay, and Goku Mats is the spirit that controls the wind. Okay, that's why Goku flies on a little cloud, like a little rain cloud. Okay, he controls wind and rain. Okay, and so
and that's
like
another
you see
inversion of Jesus, isn't it? Because Jesus,
absolutely.
is the cloud. What is it? The cloud walker? Or,
well, he comes on the cloud. You'll see him
comes
coming on the clouds.
What's the name of Goku's cloud?
Nimbus.
Nimbus,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, flying Nimbus.
Yep,
Man.
and that's literally where this all stems from. And so when you start recognizing it, I mean, like, there's so many things. Like, what's that other little yeah, there he is with his little Nimbus cloud, the little yellow cloud. That's his thing. Is it Chichimatsu, or I think that's it. Chichimatsu?
What's that?
Oh no, Chiotsu. Chiotsu? How do you say
Chaosu.
it?
Chaosu.
Chaosu.
Yeah,
the little
yeah,
dude.
Yeah. The little
Okay,
dude
yeah.
that
So-
self-destructs.
Yeah, Chiotsu. Yeah, that guy. So that dude is he's representing. He's a complete representation of it. It's called the I'm gonna butcher this. Jiagishi.
Okay.
Jagashi, which are mythical creatures from Chinese folklore that are called. Let me see here. This is the cartoon that normalizes making them friendly, satanic occult things. Let's see here what I wrote. Okay,
is that
Chiatsu.
why is this guy like a little demon? Bring him up top. I see him. There he is.
Yeah, if you type in
There
the
he is.
spelling of the character. Okay, it's type in JIANGSHI. Type that in.
Was it JIA?
Yeah, JIANGSHI. This is the they're called the hopping vampires.
Yeah.
This
so
is
it
where
says here,
Chiatsu gets his.
Jianshi is a reanimated corpse or an undead
Yes.
creature from Chinese folklore, also known as a Chinese hopping vampire.
Yeah,
Oh,
look at the
cool.
picture of him. Tell me that ain't Chiatsu. Like that's like
hold on, I gotta bring
look at the other pictures. Like, because that's some recent.
Yeah.
one.
Well, he's yeah.
Look,
with the hat.
that's him.
He's got the
that's
little hat and
Chiatsu.
everything. Yep.
This is a Nephilim vampire thing that like sucks their blood and like
Cool.
you know
cool.
whatever.
And then he's best friends with like a dude who's got his third eye opened on his forehead, right?
Yes!
Tien has
Tien,
his third eye open.
And guess what? What hand symbol does Tien do with his third eye every time?
Illuminati confirmed.
What does he do? That's what he does with his third eye, bro. Why do you think he does that? Like, you think
Yeah.
that's just chance that he does
Yeah.
that,
Damn, dude.
Bro, he's
Unbelievable.
literally, it's all trying to subversively put occultic understandings into your mind to normalize you to the occult, normalize you to witchcraft. Yeah, see, look at him doing his little Illuminati thing.
Yeah, and that's it. He's just throwing up the rock. He's a big Jay-Z fan. All right, Brian, I need you to ease up on my boy TN. He's a big Jay-Z fan. All right, Rockefeller
Jay-Z.
Records. Rockefeller Records. That's all that's happening there. That's crazy, man. It is. So, okay. All right. There was somebody that I had in mind, and I wanted to ask you. So, Piccolo, is he like a reptilian? I mean, he's kind of like a serpentine or reptile creature. I think they reproduce asexually. They give birth via eggs. They vomit eggs up, and I think that's how they're born. Their young ones are born. Is there anything with Piccolo?
You know, I've not noticed. I mean, just looking at Piccolo, obviously he's something serpentine.
He was called the Demon King. That was his his original title was the Demon King.
Yeah, so I mean that in and of itself right there kind of gives you the loot. It like kind of tells you like he's serpentine in figure. He's got weird ears. He's like obviously got some weird muscle
he's got canines,
thing going
he's got
on.
like the fangs going
he
on.
does. He has the fangs.
He's reptilian in that he can like his arm will get cut off and he'll regrow it, regenerative.
He's an axolotl.
Oh yeah, because you can't kill the demons. They just keep reproducing into other forms and other people and other things, and they keep spreading their agenda. So like that's kind of like the narrative of what it is.
Damn, dude. That's interesting that they're a race of warriors. Like that's what the Saiyans are. They're a warrior race. And so if they're Nephilim effectively, then that kind of also checks out.
Well, he's also got pointed ears. And then my friend just sent me a message. He said in Daima, they talk about how the pointy ears creatures or characters are from the demon realm originally. So all the characters with pointed ears, which is again, if you go to Ancient Angels and you check out my channel, like you'll learn that about the pointed ears. I talk about where that comes from and stems from originally. That is a Nephilimized trait. From fallen angels. So anybody you see with pointed ears and that thing, that's stemming from the elves, the Elohim, or the fallen angels mixing with genetics. Yeah. So so this is, I mean, like all of the things. I mean, Beerbus, Berebus or Beerbus, whatever you say.
Dude. Yeah,
the cat dude, which again,
ones.
Yeah, the god of destruction. And there's Oolong, which is the pig man, which again, that's paying homage to the fact that the Gentiles were called the pigs. Okay. The Giantals were the pigs, so it's mocking this understanding of like pigs or the dogs or whatever. And so again, that's the pig man. Why do you choose a pig man of all the characters that you could have mixed him with in that regard? And so like all of this stuff stems from occultic sort of esoteric Nephilimized things that are going on in our world.
It almost seems like the Kais would be like the Watchers. Because they're off on their own like little celestial bodies, and they're monitoring mankind, but they're not really engaging or anything like that. And so there's Beerus, who by the way just adorned in some sort of Egyptian garb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a god of destruction, and he's basically Anubis. He's Anubis, but in a cat form. That's literally
that seems to be what we're going for here. But yeah, these Kais, right? They're like these. Not overlords, but I mean, really, they don't serve any other purpose except for watching. That's what they do. They're just watching over mankind, and then they kind of intercede on behalf of them occasionally. So that feels like another one right there where it's very obvious in hindsight.
It's so obvious. Once you recognize it, you're like, okay, that's. I mean, it's everything about it. Everything about the and they're called the Dragon Team, bro. Like they're on the team of the dragon. The dragon is the name for the serpent. It's the name for the devil. It's the name for Satan. Like, I mean, like that's why all the characters are Satan related, and it's all different names of Satan. It's all different lineages of Satan. It's all different genetic appearances of Satan. They grow hair when they get more powerful. They turn into the monkey form, which is the ultimate form, which is the Nephilim's degenerated form state where they came from. That's why the giants have hair. They're all known for having hair, or specifically red hair, which is why he turns red even. So it's like Goku has that red hair thing, or Vegeta has the red thing, when he turns into God mode. It's like that. It goes into the red hair mode. It's all pointing to stories of the Nephilim. Everything about it.
I have a really bad one because on its face now, when I see this, I'm like, damn, this is obvious. So Everything is about Satan, right? And you're what are you doing? Well, most of the show, obviously it's overcoming the baddies, but every single baddie, every saga, if you will, you have to do what? You have to collect the Dragon Balls. And when you collect them, you can summon Satan. And what does he do? Since he's like the king of this world, he can give you whatever you want in this realm, right? So he gives you wishes. He gives you 3 wishes, or the Namekian one gives you 1 wish. But it's the same thing. It's like, we've talked about it before. Jesus, when he was being tempted, when he was in the desert, it wasn't necessarily that the devil couldn't give Jesus these things. That was never what Jesus said. He was just saying, to get away from me, and that he didn't want anything to do with them. But he never said like, hey, Satan, these things that you're offering me are not yours to give. They are his to give, because he's the king of this realm. So yeah, in Dragon Ball Z, what are they doing? They're fucking summoning him. And then they're getting their wishes. So, he's giving them whatever worldly possessions that they want. Interesting.
Well, let me ask you, Brian. So it doesn't seem like you're as familiar with the show, but what do you make of Frieza? You know that character. He's one of the more famous.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. That's, in my opinion, that's probably the best series arc in Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, or GT. It's like this great story of this world destroyer, and they have to go to this other planet to fight him. And that's like the original transformation. Obviously, we have the Super Saiyan transformations, which get out of control after a while. But the first one, there's something significant about this transformation as well. What do you have on Frieza? Destroy Frieza for me, please.
Destroy Frieza for you. Okay. The interesting part I would say is that, when they talk about transmuting and stuff, and like there's also the fusion, right? When they join, all this is pertaining to, practices of alchemy, I think. Yeah. And this is all related to like witchcraft fusing and genetics. Okay. I'm trying to see, like, when it comes to Frieza, I think he's just basically some type of Nephilim hybridized creation is what I kind of get out from him. There's nothing too particular. I mean, like, the creatures that are the good guys are already the evil ones. So it's like, so when you see the bad guys in this character realm, it's like they're just like bad. Like,
well,
whatever.
This is
more bad.
Shout out
to
like what Brad Audrin. He says, wasn't there one of the original episodes where Bulma was like 17, 18 and she was trying to get with little Goku? I may be remembering that wrong. Well, actually, Brad, it's a little bit more nefarious than that. Throughout the entire series of Dragon Ball, little Goku is constantly trying to like peek up her dress, and sometimes she's kind of letting him do this, and she's being like cheeky and flirtatious with him. Meanwhile, Goku is effectively like, I don't know, like a 5 or 6 year old in the series, while Bulma is already 17, 18, something like that, to Brad's point. And in hindsight, watching it, like if I put it on, I don't really watch Dragon Ball because the animation and everything just suffered too much because it was before Dragon Ball Z, so I didn't have much of an interest. But if I see it now, I'm like, damn, dude, that is a really concerning theme. It's in very many ways. Certainly it is promoting a unhealthy relationship between little Goku and Bulma. Unhealthy is being gentle. It's actually pretty concerning if you look at it for what it is. And they do that a lot. In fact, Arcane Arsenal says, to be fair, Japanese anime show a lot of genitals in general. Yeah, that is true. And one of the things that they do that is also very off-putting is they put a lot of emphasis on like characters that wear school uniforms. And I'm like, that is... You want to talk about problematic? That's problematic. So but to bring it back to what we were talking about, Idle Vast Expanses says Boo arc is unarguably demonic. That's on the nose. That arc of Majin Buu is where, I mean, the show is peppered with all kinds of occult, esoteric kind of thing. But once you get into the Buu arc, everything becomes, it almost seems like they went straight Middle Eastern. Jinn, and well, I guess Asia has that in common. It's all Asia, but yeah, that they went full into the Jinn and full into that spirituality. I think in a way that was a little bit more overt than the previous ones.
Yeah, you mentioned the pedo-y component to it.
Yes.
Look at my screen here for a second. So we've got these different forms of outfits that he wears.
Yeah. He's
Goku
got these
wears-
are all the different symbols. So I guess one of them is like Roshi's Master Roshi symbol, but the one you're looking at for the listeners is the newest one. It's just
Yeah,
kind of
the
a little
newest
swirl.
symbol, which is a stick drawing the spiral, which is the pedo symbol. For those that don't know, that's a stick drawing the pedo symbol. And like, what else is that? It's just a spiral. It's literally, they're straight up telling you at the end, it's like, surprise, you're a pedo. Like, like literally, that's what it's dragging all the way to, like dragging you to. So
Wow.
this is dragon. And
It's
so
funny
like
too
balls.
because speaking of inappropriate themes, I mean, I know things were different back in the day. I tried to have my son watch the Goonies recently, and even the Goonies, I was like, damn, dude, I don't remember this kind of like adult themes in the Goonies.
Yeah.
But when it came to those weird themes in Dragon Ball Z, Master Roshi was also a very strange cat. Like he was constantly kind of, he has porno mags.
Pervy. He's
yeah,
pervy.
he has perv magazines constantly. And his entire character is one of being a pervert. It was weird how they just like, it's a child's cartoon about, good guys versus bad guys, but constantly weird kind of pervy themes, are the undertone. I find that to be the case in much of like Japanese anime for whatever reason.
Dude, that's literally how it is. And like people don't recognize like these sort of tropes, but like they subversively go into your mind, whether you're looking at them or paying attention to them or not. Like it's planting a little seed in the back of your mind, and you're going like, oh, all old men are pervy. Maybe it's okay. Like, oh, it's acceptable. Like it's like pushing off the concept that these sort of behaviors are acceptable and normalized, and it's understandable. And so it puts a seed in your head, whether you recognize it or not. It plants a spell in your mind to make you think that that's acceptable, or that's something that we should all be okay with.
There's something else that I'm noticing here too, is that all of the characters in the world that they inhabit are anthropomorphized animal people, right? They're all chimeric hybrid monsters. They're all English speaking, upright walking dogs and pigs and such.
Yep, absolutely. One of my friends just texted me. He just said there's an episode of Dragon Ball GT where they shrink one of the female characters, and the dude plays with her like a doll and changes her clothes. He said it's really bad.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's like, bro, like they're as innocent as it may seem, it's just like, it's literally, it seems innocent, but it's so nefariously disturbing on like levels that you're just not paying attention to. Like you just don't realize it, okay? And they tell you, oh no, it's Kakarot. It means carrot. Oh, it's Vegeta. Don't mind that it sounds like vagina. Like don't worry about that.
Like vegetable.
It's vegetable.
That's
dude. Here's the thing. When you heard the word Vegeta, I know this because I was like, that's a weird name. Like I know, like when you heard it, you thought that doesn't sound right. Just like when you first heard Dragon Ball, you thought Dragon Ball Z, you were like, that's so weird. Everyone heard that name and thought that was weird. But then in your conscious, you just kind of like let it go and go, no, it's cool. I'll ignore that. I'll ignore the fact that he's called Vegeta. Sounds like something else. Like, I'll ignore that part. Man. That's literally what we're doing, and we just don't recognize it.
Now I feel bad because I went back in time. A lot of the new things for children. So you want to talk about how Dragon Ball Z is kind of inverting these things, right? Making you like the bad guys and things of that nature. Well, nowadays, I think the content that's being made for children is much more overt. And I think that's because parents are too busy. We're also a lot more like ideologically left-leaning than we were in previous generations, so we're a lot less conservative. We're willing to allow some themes to enter our homes and allow our children to see these things when previous generations wouldn't have had any of it. And what I see now is that a lot of it is just overt and it's occultism. So my son was watching for a while Amphibia. Amphibia is made by Disney, of course, and so everything I'm going to say doesn't come as a surprise, but everything in Amphibia is, if they're doing necromancy, You know, one character is like just doing necromancy, and she's a cheeky, fun character who's just, but the whole episode is about her stressing out because she has to do things to the book in order for this spell to work. And when you start looking at the crap she has to do to the book, you're like, yeah, that all tracks. That's the real way that you would execute this occult ritual. Why are they concerned with getting the details right? And then they'll have these esoteric tomes that they'll open, these old dusty tomes, and it'll be like a book of demons, right? And it's in the background. And if you pause it and you see the names of the demons, it's like they're saying like Azazel or Semya. They're saying all of these like actual names.
Dude, hold
and
on
I'm like,
a second.
why do they care so much to get that accurate?
So, all right, I just asked. I Googled when. Because it's clearly it's not. We're looking at anime, but Brian, you were right by looking at the language, the Japanese language, and anime comes from Japan, and Japan is kind of a crazy place. Like my cousin lives there. One of them, my other cousin traveled there, and they're like, oh, it's so respectful and so nice. And they do have like some weird fetishes, like tentacle things like that. And
Yeah,
they
and
also
all their
are
genital are blurry.
they're
Weird. I don't
suffering
know what's
with
going on.
yeah, I don't know why everyone's genitals are blurry in Japan. It's very strange.
I don't
But they're
know.
suffering from Japan is suffering from a breeding issue. Like they're not
Yes.
breeding enough, so they're doing something there. But I said, well, what happened to Japan? And Japan was nuked. They were nuked in 1945. And we just did an episode. This is like everything starts
this
to happen.
time period, 45 to 55.
Yeah. Like from there, you've got, World War. Well, this is like the are falling off. And then, America takes the and we do Operation Paperclip, and Aleister Crowley is active soon after this. MK Ultra happens. We have Andrija Puharich in the 47s, the 50s. But it's like this is significant as well. Japan is bombed, and then we start to get anime, and it's like obviously not right after this, but like after
look at
this.
This is a great, actually, this Def Not Piccolo Egg says all the strong Japanese men died on island. I'm not saying that's a little hyperbolic, but it's basically like what happens when you draft all of the masculine men of a society and then they all die in war.
All eyes on Ukraine right now, because that's exactly what we are doing in Ukraine. That's kind of crazy to think about. If Ukraine starts making anime,
if they start making really, really great animation after this, I'm gonna be like, what is happening? Since when does the best cartoons? Why are they coming out of Ukraine now? That's strange. A lot of that though, I think is, I don't know what to do with it, but you see that what I was talking about, where there's like actual occult accurate details in children's entertainment. You see it like all over the place now. Like it's like, back in the day, our cartoons would get away with an all-seeing eye. Like if you had an eye in a pyramid, it'd be like, what in the hell was that? Or like you got a pentagram or a goat head is in the background. Not anymore, dude. Not anymore. Now all they're doing is like they're doing occult works on cartoons now. They're elongated. They take the whole episode. One of the worst ones that I've seen is Adventure Time. Adventure Time is a very fun series, but like they are creating characters out of some of the most esoteric and obscure occult like grimoires and things like that, and they're turning them into cartoons for children, and they're all accurate. And I'm like, what is going on, dude? It's crazy because you used to have to read these things to get that sort of knowledge and open you up to a bunch of really bad things. Now it's happening involuntarily. You think you're sitting down to watch a piece of like child's entertainment. Next thing you know, you've just been inducted into the OTO.
Yeah, that's literally how it is. Like at Adventure Time is it's funny that you mentioned that. Like there is so much occult understanding that's like blended into that cartoon. And I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool cartoon.
I'm like, this is kind of funky, right?
Yeah, it was like weird and unique, but then you realize like, bro, it's all satanic. And like they've been doing this, like all the cartoons that come out, all the themes that come out, they paint the bad guys as good. They've been doing it since the beginning. Okay. And that's the thing is like, you just didn't recognize it. Like before when they were doing it with Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, bro. Dwarves at that time were known to be even evil, demonic Nephilim creatures. Okay. And they were known for that. Okay, we painted them as the good guys. Right. Snow White and the Beast, or Sleeping, or whatever, Belle and the Beast, Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. Like, bro, that comes from Bel and the Dragon. That's like a story that's a biblical context. Bel and the Dragon is the name of what that is.
But what
Okay,
is
and
it,
that's why
Brian?
she's named Bel.
Why
Say
is
what?
it then? Why is it then that like I agree with you completely, but it's like the best show. The best show, like I think everyone will agree, is Breaking Bad. And
such a good show.
yeah, and the protagonist is the bad guy. He is the worst
Yeah.
bad. He's a drug dealer, murderer, will do anything for $1, and you're rooting for him.
Yeah.
But
And in
when
fact,
I
that's
listen-
actually no, go
when
ahead,
I-
Top. I'm sorry.
when I listen to like I don't know, Christian music, or if we watch a Christian movie, they, the protagonist is the good guy and he's painted in a good light and he's just good. But I don't want to root for that guy for some reason. Like I
Yeah.
like human beings like this story of this darker figure. Like I'm more attracted to that. And I'm like, well, why? And so are so many people. Millions
they're
and
doing
millions of
that.
people.
Well,
They're
it's
doing
it's
that now where they're taking like so this is something that I saw was becoming more prolific, and it was off-putting, not because of the deep esoteric reason, just because of, right on its face you're making the good guy or the bad guys the good guys, but they start making these movies where all of a sudden the main antagonist of Disney films now has its own spin-off film.
Yes,
And you're
yeah.
meant to like empathize with it. And one of the ones where
Antihero.
they did that really well was Maleficent, who
Yeah.
feels like a fallen angel or some crap like that. And if you go through the whole story, it's like you're meant to empathize with her because, it wasn't her fault that she was persecuted and then turned evil or whatever. And they do that a lot. So then you start having breakaway films of Jafar or,
Yep.
Hades gets his own breakaway film from the Hercules movie. Like they all start to now Disney is
Everybody's
putting a lot of money into villain merch. Villain
bad-
shirts,
bad
villain
guys.
stuffies, all that crap. Like they're
Yeah.
marketing the villains to kids now.
They've always been doing it though. That's the thing. It's like we think the good guys were the good guys in the original films, but the good guys were witches. They were practicing witchcraft. They were practicing the occult. They were dwarves. They were Nephilim. They were hybrids. They were beasts. They were monsters. They were turned into good guys. And they've gone even more blatantly to be like the bad guys of the bad guys. Like it's like, dude, all they're doing is they're just amplifying to help you recognize that. Because when they first came out, these things came out, and a lot of people watched it and knew that was bad. Now
Yeah.
they're normalized to it. So they got to
Yes.
go another step further to emphasize, what you're watching is bad.
You know
So
what we're
that's
getting
why they're
close to?
doing that.
We're getting close to one day there's going to be a movie, and it's going to be like, the serpent only wanted to enlighten you.
Yeah, exactly.
The serpent.
They
only
already have
wanted
that,
to elevate-
actually.
Yeah, of course.
They already have that. It's a cartoon. It's actually known. There's a cartoon. It's
Oh,
called
is that the one-
whatever hotel, something
yes,
hotel.
yes. It's Lilith,
And
it's Satan or it's Lucifer, right?
Bro, it's called something hotel, and they literally talk about it's all about people in hell running this hotel in hell.
Yeah, Lilith
and then
is the runner of the hotel. The main
Oh, okay,
character is Lilith. Yeah, and then
Yep.
of course they have like Lucifer or some Satan character, and he's wearing a top hat, just like
Yes. Yep,
the
the
upper
magicians.
echelons of like the church
Yeah.
of whatever. The I guess they would be a priest of or a high wizard, I think is the terminology you would use to describe them. They wear like top hats and a painted skull on their face. Yeah, it's all. I mean, but that I made the mistake of thinking that was aimed towards children once upon a time. That's aimed towards adults, but it's like, how long until it just is, until they just do that? And I'm sure they have in some way, shape, or form, because I know for a fact that a lot of the baddies in Adventure Time are like really likable, even though there's some sort of like interdimensional demonic character. They're kind of like funny or whatever. And
I think calling them Nephilim is not the correct term, or even Raphaim. They're Gibberim. They're like what we're talking about. These heroes are like men of renown, but the Gibberim or Gibberim were like what's his name? Nimrod became
Nimrod,
Gibberim. Yeah, it's an offshoot, but it's a very specific offshoot. It seems more human than the Nephilim. But
when I was a
still
kid, my
powerful.
favorite movie from Disney was Hercules. That was my favorite Disney movie growing up. And now I'm like, they had me rooting for a Nephilim. Son of a bitch.
Yeah,
That's
see,
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I felt the same way.
Yeah. It's everywhere. I mean, it kind of goes back to that whole the Bible is it resonates with us so deeply that the archetypes in the stories, or the story archetypes themselves, echo into our own Hollywood films. But to your point, Brian, it's like the buck doesn't stop there. They're not just retelling these stories. They're also twisting that detail. And that goes back to it. 9 truths to sell you that one lie. This story resonates with us so much because it's biblical in nature, right? And so they give us this thing. It enamors us. It's, we can feel it inside. And then, but within it, there's this perversion.
But this is a failure. This is a failure on Christians, in my opinion, because like I said, when you get Christian media and you get these movies, the protagonist is like obviously a protagonist. And it's like, oh God, like we get it. He's good. He's the guy that does good things. Or if you get like a Christian song, a Christian album, it's like, here's the point of my song. This is what I'm saying. There's no story in it. But when you look at the Bible, the most interesting characters are in the Bible are all flawed. And that's what like, a Goku has. This is what Bryan Cranston playing, the guy in Breaking Bad has. There are these personality flaws, but it's maybe more modern Christians are nailing this thing. But the stuff that I had growing up coming into church, I was like, this is extremely boring. I don't want to see this. There's no stripe. There's no personality,
I totally get what you're saying, but it's interesting because you mentioned Breaking Bad, and I don't want to make a point to Breaking Bad because a lot of people the thing is, you've been programmed. Everybody's been programmed to even like this stuff, dude. Like the reality is like your nature, when you start really like trying to like, serve like Christ in a way, like your nature shifts more to the point where like I can't even watch Breaking Bad, bro. I tried to watch it and like, bro, it made me like sick. It was like I was like, I can't even watch this. Like it's so evil and so disturbing and so wicked and so vile and so subversively, like in my spirit I could feel the torment. I could feel it in my spirit even watching it. I could feel like I got to the point where he dissolved a dude in a bathtub and I'm done. I was done. I was like, I cannot watch this. Like the wickedness that it was putting inside my heart, I could feel the wickedness building up in my heart just watching that. Now most people may not notice it. They wouldn't like just pick up on it. But like, bro, like there is so many undertone things in that show that, yeah, sure, it's entertaining to some person that's have nothing going on. You're not paying attention. You just want to like veg out and watch some cool story of something. Sure. But like, you got to recognize, you have to wake up in the spirit and recognize what it's doing to your heart. Okay. And that's the thing that you got to realize. Like there's that I watched this movie. I tried to watch a movie that it was called something Brockovich, something Aaron Brockovich.
Aaron Brock. Yeah. Why is that familiar?
I tried to watch the movie, which Brockovich means means witch of the brook, by the way, side note. And that's just her. And it's a good movie. And my friend tried to watch it and they're like, yeah, let's just watch a movie and try to be normal for once because we don't watch movies. And like, she was just like, yeah, let's watch this movie. Aaron Brockovich, bro. I couldn't even get through the movie. It's a normal movie. And they're like, and she's like, oh yeah, it's good. At the end, she like, tries to, she's like struggling mom by herself and she wins a bunch of money at the end and sues this company and saves these people from this environmental disaster where the power company or whatever the water company was lying and manipulating these people. Bro, I couldn't even get through the whole freaking movie. I got halfway through and I was like, dude, you like this movie? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, she's like, it's a good movie. It's nostalgic. And I was like, do you not recognize the amount of depression on this movie? And she's just like, no. And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, you don't recognize how depressed this movie is. And she's like, no, it gets really good at the end. And I was like, in the name of Jesus, spirit of depression, come out. Bro, she starts throwing up instantly. And she goes from like, no, it's totally fine. I was like, in the name of Jesus, you spirit of nostalgia and depression, come out now. And she's like, and she just starts throwing up, like straight up, dude. And she's like, I'm like, oh shoot. Like, and I didn't even realize I didn't have it on me, but it was on her. And she was just like trying to watch it and like be normal, wanted to feel normal for once because we had been casting demons out for so long. She was just like, I just want to try to be a normal person. Bro, there was a demon of nostalgia that came out of her. There was a demon that came out of her.
That's a fascinating way to phrase that. The demon of nostalgia. And the reason I think that is so significant is because our generation in particular, millennials, I'm imagining you're the same age as us, Brian. I'm 34 years old. So that this
Damn, you
this
old, bro.
You older than me, dog. What are you talking about? Millennials, what they've really done with the media, I almost feel like we are the ultimate, what would you call it? The ultimate buyer, the ultimate, not fan base, but
Consumer.
consumer. Thank you, Top. The ultimate
3 O's.
consumer that they're aiming the propaganda machine at. And the way that they're wrenching us and manipulating us is with the nostalgia button. Like, I'm wearing this shirt. It's a Nephilim Death Squad shirt, and it's got us as Dragon Ball Z characters as like, a bit of a gag. But like our generation we're unironically wearing, Super Mario shirts outside. And we're covering our rooms as adult men in Marvel or in Star Wars merchandise. And they keep just rehashing the Marvel thing, ringing the Star Wars thing for everything that it's worth to capture this entire generation of millennials. And I know there's Gen Xers and there's Gen Zers on either side of us that are also, falling victim to this, but they're using everything that they gave us when we were kids, right? And of course, nostalgia is a very powerful feeling. It resonates with the human experience so much.
Jesus said, "Let the dead bury the dead," bro.
You know
So
what,
keep that
Bryan?
in mind.
Let me just say something. I'll make a little confession here. Now that I'm thinking about it, as you said that, so there were people when I used to go to church. There was a guy there, and then he was like very serious. He was involved with drugs and all this stuff, but he was very serious and like, I can't let any of this in. And like to a point where I was like, this is getting crazy. Like we couldn't even go out to eat with him. I'm like, let's be a little normal. Yeah, it was. And I was like, I don't understand that.
He couldn't go out to eat even because it was like too much for him, or what?
Dude, it was to the point with this guy, and he's a great dude, but he couldn't even work a normal job. Like the church had given him a job, and they were paying him because he's the best dude. But like, I mean, like he's like anything would send him spiraling. He was super sensitive.
That's not good.
No, not good. But like what you're talking about, like you're like, get demon of nostalgia, get out. This dude probably had these demons. He probably needed to be exorcised or something, but the church wasn't doing that at the time. They were just trying to like keep him safe and like basically had him in like we're keeping him in a rubber room, but like couldn't do anything, couldn't really even mention anything. And I used to look at that and be like, what a retard. And but I think you're right. I think there is something
He was
inside.
oppressed.
He's oppressed. Listen, man, there was a point in my life where if somebody said Jesus, I swear to God, if somebody said Jesus Christ to me, I would go or like it would even be hard for me to say it. At some point in my life after like falling out with the church, I had this thing in me and it's no longer there, thank God. But like there is something. So maybe this thing, like when I was looking at the Christian media and listening to the music, no one's telling me that it's like this is whack, but like part of me was just like, what the hell is this? I also do think that some of it could be a little corny. Listen, some of it was corny, but there is also that stronghold. I guess that's what I would call it. There's that stronghold in me, in most people, like, and it's possibly being held there by continuing to consume this type of media, which sucks because I do enjoy this media, but
well, isn't that feeling of like cringe or corniness, that's entirely a cultural manufactured thing. Like I don't think that dudes are in tribes anywhere and looking at other tribe people being like, dude, you're so cringe. Like I don't think I think cringe and corny is entirely a manifestation of pop culture, and it was really given to us very heavily like in our youth in the early 2000s. And I felt that too. Like I've never been, I wasn't a Christian growing up, but I would say that part of what kept me from like seriously looking at the Bible and considering it was like this corny or cringe factor. And, and they've managed to create this idea that Christianity is synonymous with cringy, with corny. And I don't know if that's like, is that, I don't even think that is as much with Catholicism. I don't think it's certainly not with Islam. It's not with Buddhism, right? But it is with Christianity. There's a huge feeling of cringe.
I would say that a lot of cringe and corniness comes from lack of emotional, like genuineness. I think a lot of it. So like, I think, and here's the thing: when people are trying to be something they're not, you can pick up on it. You can feel it. Yeah. And the reality is, like, a lot of people trying to make movies and trying to do stuff are not living the life of Christ, so it comes out corny. It comes out cringe.
That's
It comes out this way because it's disingenuous.
Comes out fraudulent. That's
it's
what it is, dude.
disingenuous.
That's the heart of cringe.
I have a very good sense of when someone is I guess my parents have always said you have like good discernment, but when somebody is being
disingenuous.
when they're not being genuine, when they're being like standoffish. My dad's horrible at telling this. He can never tell when somebody doesn't want to talk to him. And then there've been times where I'm like, I have to like pull him away from a conversation. I'm like, this guy here, he's giving you the,
Please
whatever
end
he's
it.
done with the conversation. Like, let's go. This is embarrassing. But yeah, I get that. That's the feeling that I get from some of these things, some of these songs. Or
and that's exactly what it is. And so like when you recognize it though, you can feel it. But the truth is this, just like, okay, going back to when I was praying for the person about the demon of nostalgia, when it came out of her, like, bro, she like instantly, like, she had dealt with like little bouts of depression feeling, like, would hit her every once in a while, but like, bro, that's because it's a spirit there, dude. Like, and when it left. So like the thing is, like, that those feelings that we get, like, watching that movie, I saw that movie and there was like parts like she's a single mom. It's telling you that's a spell being cast on you. It's okay to be a single mom. You don't need a dad. You don't need a husband. She's raising her children by herself. She's flirting and maybe potentially doing stuff with the neighbor man. Okay, it's okay to sleep around with the neighbor man. It's okay to do. That's the spells that are being put forth, whether you recognize it or not. Like, it's coming out at you like that. And then it's like, oh, it's okay to sue people to make your living, to make your money. You'll be good. Just keep pushing through. Keep working like a slave. It's okay. Like, something big will come. It's okay to be in a state of suffering and depravity. Like, they are putting out spells in these movies, in these things, in these shows to give you false hope for a future that you wish for, but you'll never obtain. You will never get to. Okay, it gives you this false hope. And it gives you this false sense of reality and perspective that, like, everything negative, like most of the movies, it's like over 50% of the movie that we think is good is terrible. It's like the situation's terrible. And then the last 20 minutes or whatever of the movie, it's like, oh, and then it was good at the end. Ta-da! Like, oh, congratulations. No, you just sat and watched a bunch of deprived wickedness pumped into your brain telling you that your condition is okay. Sit there and accept your boring job, your unhappy place, your lack of money, your suffering, and your terrible situation without your loved one raising your like abandoned children. Accept it. It's okay. Look, they've survived it. Why do you think all the heroes all come from orphan homes, guys? Why do you think all the heroes don't have don't have parents? Because they're trying to program you into accepting like this wicked state of, and we think it's good. We think it's good, and we don't understand like that. Like, we can't look at a situation, bro. It's not a matter of what movies do we watch then. Don't freaking watch movies. I don't watch movies. Okay, like, I don't watch TV, I don't watch movies, I don't give a crap about watching that, because life itself, when you start like casting demons out and helping people and healing people and praying for people, bro, life itself is way more exciting than a movie. I could tell you so many things that would just like blow your mind in comparison to other movies that are happening. Like, bro, I just prayed for some little girl not even a few weeks ago who had some condition where she couldn't even eat ice cream. And she was like, basically, it was like, what's that, colon disease where they got to cut your stomach out? Bro, gone. Like, she's now eating ice cream. Her whole family's like, what the heck has happened? Like, you got prayed for and like this, like, bro, that is like so much more powerful than any movie I could watch. So like, the reality is like, we see these things that are like just seemingly normal, like, or like Breaking Bad, and it's like, like, there is something in my heart that's like wrenching when I watch these kind of things, and I could feel in my spirit like the wickedness trying to grab hold of me and like tell me like it's okay to keep secrets, it's okay to keep lies. Other people have bigger lies than the ones that you have. It's okay. Look at that. You can accept your lies, bro. That's what's happening to us when we watch this stuff, and if we don't recognize it, it gets into your skin, it gets into your blood, it gets into your thoughts, it gets into your mind. You're like, oh, well, I'm not throwing people on acid baths, so it's okay if I lie a little bit. Like, bro, this is literally what's happening to you. It's poisoning us. It's poisoning all society.
It's like to show you the apex of sin, so that your sin dwarfs in comparison, right? So
Yeah.
then you become comfortable with it too. It's
Brian,
also why you get this like every single character to Top's point, right? When you're watching Bryan Cranston play, you know, whatever the hell his name is, and he is this
Heisenberg.
debased, immoral character, right? It's like you find yourself rooting for the bad guy. I see in particular, this is aimed at women. I would say probably a lot more so than men. And it's that all the female characters in women's shows, they are all those archetypes that you're talking about, right? There's the single mother, there's the drug addict one who's like over drinking and she's having sex with everybody. And it's like all of the pantheon of your favorite characters in women's shows, they're all morally corrupt, debased human beings, and you are meant to root for them. So yeah,
Yep.
I mean, even if it's not an orphan hero, it's a gang of effectively bad guys.
I'm
Yep.
super excited after we wrap this episode, because that entire clip, that rant there, Brian, is going
That's it.
on, dude. Yeah, that's a powerful rant.
Well, let's do this. Let's bring it in for a landing, because I think it's always smart to
Shout
get
out
out on a
JT.
good note. Brian, you crushed, man. You crushed my nostalgia. The demon of
Sorry about
nostalgia
that.
I'm sure resides in me is not pumped about this. You've destroyed one of my favorite childhood shows, but also I think you gave the audience a tremendous message, because
You know what though, man? It's like, man, like some of my nostalgia stuff was like a baseball and sports and different, even movies and shows definitely for sure. But like after COVID happened, there was like this breaking inside of me, and I'm like, I can't watch. It's not that I can't, but I have no interest in it. My dad
Yeah.
watches the sports, and I look, and I'm a college baseball player. I played, I'm very seriously. Almost went to the minors, but it's like I just don't. In my heart, I look at it and I'm like, I just don't care. It really, it's not like a bitterness. It started with a bitterness. They put the BLM thing on the mound, the Yankees mound, or the whatever, wherever, and I was like, these people hate me. And then that started to like break my brain into like really like the logical conclusion of this. And then you start to see all the other stuff, and now I'm like, yeah, I just thank God it's out of me. It's gone.
Now
It's been
Top's
exercised.
looking at the baseball game. He's like, why does the field represent like the Masonic square? or
Masonic,
something?
yeah.
What's
still-
going on
I still
here,
love-
dude?
I love the game of baseball, because there is like it is a beautiful game, and sure, there's like a lot of weird, like, there's a lot of angles and Freemasonic stuff in it, but like the game really is, it's a game of chess, a physical game of chess where you're thinking and there's accuracy involved. To me, I look at it's the beauty of being a human being. You can, if you're great at this sport, you'll succeed 3 out of 10 times in hitting the ball and getting on base. If you're pitching, you're playing a psychological game against each batter, and every single centimeter matters. And I love that. But seeing it on TV and seeing what it is and what they've made this game, I've got no interest in it. And like literally, it has completely died and fell off of me. I don't
Brendan
care
Circus.
at all about it.
It's Brendan
But,
Circus, man. It's what we get wrapped up in. It's the big distraction.
And as we do this show, more and more things like that. Like I'm about to throw this 4-star DragonBall through the wall right here.
Yeah, I guess I gotta melt down these guys. I don't know what to do with them. What should I do with the reclaimed plastic? I don't know. Maybe I could make something cool out of it.
Make an offering to the Lord, bro. Just like be like, how many things have you ever sacrificed to God? You know,
I
like
was thinking
how
I
many?
could do that. Yeah.
I got a
Like,
nice
hey, guys,
fire
this is
pit out
for
here.
you.
Them to God.
Like, be like, hey, look, Lord, I didn't, I've never made an offering to you before, but hey, why not? I'm gonna burn this because I like it, and but I see that it's wicked, so I'm gonna not pay homage to this.
Well, I got to get rid of them because tonight I'm sure I'm going to find them standing at my the foot of my bed, looking at me in disappointment. Okay, let's see Goku there. All right,
Goodbye,
let's
Goku.
bring it in for a landing, guys. Brian, thank you so much, man. This is a banger of an episode. It's always a pleasure talking to you. For the audience, where can people find your work? Goku did nothing wrong. He just wanted to be an idiot, and he wanted to sacrifice himself for people. Now Brian says he's a fallen angel. Unbelievable. Where can we find
he's
you,
a
Brian?
Harry Nephilim. Demon Erasers on YouTube, and look up Ancient Angels podcast, or just demonerasers.com, or Demon Erasers on all the stuff's Demon Erasers,
Yes,
or
your
Ancient
link.
Angels.
All your links are in the description. And thank you for the people who are here from your channel. who have stood all the way. I know Brian did all the heavy lifting on the show, but thank you again for hanging out. We really appreciate you guys, and appreciate you for coming back on. We're gonna again make you come on to talk about.
Yeah, what was the
something
next
else.
time you said you had to ruin something else for us?
Disney.
We talked
Oh, yeah,
about
we're
it
gonna
right
talk
at
Disney.
Oh,
We're gonna ruin Disney.
That's like a
I'm gonna go
two-parter episode. That's a long episode, dude.
Remember Hakuna Matata. Remember.
I'll
Many
remember
evil
Hakuna
demons.
Matata. That's it, guys. You heard it. Brian's coming back, and we're gonna destroy Disney. All right, that's what's
That's
happening
right.
next time.
But until then,
guys.
don't forget to obey, submit, and comply. We'll see you later.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real. If you can persuade people that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see, you got them. Because they'll laugh in the face of an explanation that portrays the bigger picture of what's happening. And they have.